So now what if our numbers are not nice factors of 100, right? 20 went into 100, but not every number can go nicely into 100. So our first option is to write this as a unit rate. We know unit is 1. So we can compare it to a 1 and then take that and go to 100. So our ratio is 3 out of 8. And we know percentages need to be out of 100. If I count by eighths, I say 96 and I say 104. Neither of those nicely go into 100. So I want to take that and I want to simplify it to a unit rate first. So how do I get from 8 to 1? Well, we had to divide by 8. So that means I'm going to do the same thing here and take 3 and divide it by 8. So we are looking at a small number here. We're taking 3 and we're dividing it by 8. Because if this number got smaller, this one's got to get smaller too. And 3 is less than 8, so we need a number less than 1. That means we're looking at a decimal number here, less than 1. So 8 can't go into 3, but it does go into 30 3 times, which is 24. So make sure you're doing this with me. 30 minus 24 is 6, and I'm bringing down that 0. 8 goes into 60 7 times, and then we have 56, and I'm bringing down, there's 4 left over, and I don't want to just say leave that 4 out, so I'm going to bring this down. 8 goes into 45 times, so I have 0.375. This right here is my decimal. When I take my first number and divide it by the second number, the numerator divided by the denominator, that gives you your decimal, 0.375. And now I can take that and I can turn it into 100. So I can ask, how did I get from here to here? Well, I had to times by 100. So that means I want to do the same thing here and take 0.375 and times that by 100. So if I'm doing that, so I know all of these are just going to be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So I'm going to skip over to here, but I need 2 placeholders, 0, 0. So 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 7 is 7, 1 times 3 is 3. So really I just have this number 3, so I'm having a hard time writing a 3 with my mouse. 375, and then I added 2 zeros at the end for the numbers, the zeros on 100. I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3 decimal places, 37.5. So 37.5. Remember, we talked, I can move my decimal 2 places to make it 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger. So now the decimal's here, 37.5. So for one of them, the decimal's 0.375. Then I want my percentage 100 times bigger, which we did right here, 100 times bigger. So this percentage is 37.5%. So they have 37 and then a little half of a percent. So let's look at that same ratio and use the proportion strategy. So our ratio is 3 out of 8. And this time when we do the proportion, we want to skip that 1, that unit rate, and we're going to go straight to 100. And I'm looking for what is this number on top of here? What is this percent here? So my new problem is 8W equals, so I'm cross multiplying, 3 times 100 is 300. So there's my new problem. And I want to get this W all alone. I want to know what is this percent. So the opposite of timesing by 8 is to divide by 8. So now I am doing 300 divided by 8. So here's my ratio. My decimal Again, remember, I can take my decimal and do 3 divided by 8 to get that decimal. Well, there's my decimal. I know 3 divided by 8 is 0.375. And then let's go ahead and do, so this is 300 divided by 8, so it can't go into 3. It goes into 33 times, which is 24, so I'm pretty much doing the same problem. My decimal's just in a different place. Here's the 6 and the 0. That goes in there 7 times, which is 56. Now this time my decimal's at the end of 300. And there's 4 left over, bringing down a 0, goes in there 5 times. This is telling me what this percent is. This percent is 37.5 out of 100. So here, right, I needed it, my decimal places. Here's my decimal. And I needed 37 into the hundreds place. And then I have another 5, 37.375. And then my percentage is right here, 37.5%. So you can do it either way to find this percentage and the decimal. So the decimals, we just take 3 divided by 8, and that gives me my decimal. Or I can take it and cross multiply and find my percent. And then if I want to go back to the decimal, I just move my decimal boop, boop, backwards to make this 100 times smaller. So there's 2 options you have, the unit rate or the proportion when you are trying to find the percentage and the decimals and the ratios if it is not out of 100. So when they're out of 100 or factors of 100, they're pretty easy. When they're not, you're going to have to do a little more thinking and set that problem up.